Hi, shalom. My name is Rachel Korazim, and one of the things I love to do is to teach about Israel through its poetry. So here is a quickie. There is a poem by Yehuda Amichai, who is a very well-known and beloved Israeli poet, but I do not have the time to tell you about him. You'll have to Google him. And Amichai writes a poem in a book that was published, in 1985, I think. It's called Poems of Jerusalem. And let us just listen to the first two lines, which I obviously can recite by heart. He says, Jerusalem is a place where everyone remembers he has forgotten something, but doesn't remember what it is. Just that, just these two lines. Now, I trust you do not need to be a biblical scholar in order to understand that if a Jewish Israeli poet is putting the words Jerusalem, remembering and forgetting, in the first two lines of his first verse of a poem, the guy is actually connecting to a text slightly earlier than his, because Jerusalem, remembering and forgetting, brings to mind that quote in Psalms, traditionally we believe written by King David, where he says, if I forget thee, O Jerusalem, and then he goes on, and this is like horrible. Let my hand dry and my tongue wither. Horrible stuff should happen to us. God forbid we should forget Jerusalem. And now here comes Amichai, barely 3,000 years after King David, and he says in the first line, flippantly, he constructs them such that you know that he remembers Psalms. And then he says, I'm not so sure anymore. There are some of us who come to Jerusalem, look around and say like, well, I know I ought to remember something, but honestly, nothing comes to mind. So start thinking with me as we study this poem. Who are those people who, when they come to Yerushalayim, have an idea that they should remember, but don't get it anymore? Is Amichai, like many Israelis, criticizing diaspora Jews? Could be. Is it Jerusalemites like Amichai looking at Tel Avivians like myself and say, you guys from Tel Aviv don't really get it? Or could it be, as the rest of the poem says, that Amichai is talking about himself? That all of us, including the poet who can quote Psalms, need a process of remembering and connecting to the different layers of this place. And some of us do, and some don't. So you want a better understanding, a deeper understanding of Israeli society, its poetry is a great way to do that. And I can offer you a whole session about it, Amichai or anybody else. Join us in that other option.